Back in 2014, Charli XCX had two of the biggest songs of the summer. She was the hook on Iggy Azalea's Fancy, which dominated the charts. Her own Boom Clap off her second studio album, Sucker, hit number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100. Shortly thereafter, she fizzled out of the mainstream with none of her subsequent sequels charting. She re-emerged briefly as a writer on Selena Gomez's Same Old Love, which hit top 5, only to come back swinging with a then divisive EP, Vroom Vroom. The backlash of Vroom Vroom led to a quiet period and the release of 2 critically acclaimed mixtapes, but she still hasn't slated a release date for the anticipated XCX3. In a day and age where streaming has made traditional pop irrelevant, Charli XCX is presented with a weird catch-22. She has her loyal cabal of fans, people who treat pop music as a delicacy and an art form, but she hasn't been given the chance to flourish, to become the pop starlet she wants to be and deserves to be. I'm gonna break down exactly what happened and who's to blame for what. These are the 3 biggest reasons why XCX hasn't been able to break out. It's no secret that Charli's label, Atlantic, doesn't know what exactly to do with her. They thought they had a winner in her, especially during her big streak in 2014, but that quickly went away. Ironically, pop began to really hit its stride around that time in 2015. With the poptimism of 1989, Purpose, and Selena Gomez's Revival taking the charts. It's clear that they couldn't capitalize off that raw energy fast enough for Charli to break out. Around the time of her mainstream debut, Charli was pushing this image of being a punk pop star that starkly contrasted the slick and polished productions that dominated the airwaves. Let's compare Style by Taylor Swift to Famous by Charli XCX. Charli's pivot towards the Sophie Vroom Vroom sound didn't help matters at all. Atlantic was scared to death by this pivot and moved swiftly to kill it. Again, let's compare what she sounded like in March of 2016 to what she sounded like in October of that same year. That's the sound of a label forcing an artist to pivot back to their old sound. XCX3 started missing release dates, and it's clear that Atlantic was waiting for a hit, which never came. Okay, so Charli still performed a bunch of the tracks off her scrap CD throughout 2016 and 2017, building hype for an album that continuously faced delays and setbacks. She tried to appease her fans' hunger for this music with the release of Number 1 Angel and Pop 2, both on opposite ends of 2017, but that didn't stop fans from taking matters into their own hands. Yes, they leaked the scrap record. Charli needs to change her Google Drive password. The initial draft of XCX3, then rumored to be titled XCX World, leaked in low quality in August of 2017, and fans ate it up. I personally have listened to these leaks over the past year, and they slap hard. Like, they were produced allegedly by Sophie and Stargate, her 2 most frequent collaborators these past few years. Unfortunately, these leaks for an album that was likely scrapped still delayed her record significantly. Some of these leaks were salvaged into singles, 2 of them being released this past summer, Girls Night Out and No Angel. We don't know which tracks she intended to keep or properly release, and some of them are still clearly drafts, but they still slap. Again, Charli's such a catch-22. These tracks are really amazing, and I feel awful that they leaked, but they're out there, guys. Like, it's like an honest shame, because these leaks clearly, they represent this era that Charli had planned out, and we'll never get to live in that era, and that is a tragedy onto its own. They had photo shoots, they had things planned, and the label just pulled it under the rug, and that's upsetting to fans, to Charli probably, and that's a shame. Interestingly enough, on these leaks, there are demos for 2 songs that ended up being top 20 hits, Issues and The Middle. Okay, so this is the diciest part of the video. The Angels, get it, Charli's Angels, have been her biggest supporters, but they haven't exactly contributed much to helping Charli spread her music or grow as a mainstream artist. For one, they leaked tracks. She had a meltdown on Twitter after fans harassed her for dropping 5 in the morning remixes instead of new music. They expect so much from her, and I know that comes from a place of love, but it can be a little too much. It's weird to have stan culture where people really go out of their way to cheer on pop girls the same way sports dudes cheer on their favorite teams. Ariana has her Arianators, Gaga has her monsters, let us not forget Swifties, Katy Cats, Rihanna Navy, you get the gist, but Angels are so different. They don't have the luxury of endless merch or exposure, and they have to settle for what they can get. It's 5 in the morning, I'm busy balling. Charli's not really a slouch at all. She's trying her hardest. She's on tour with Taylor Swift. She's released a song every month this summer after 2 whole mixtapes last year. And what has been 4 years since a proper album release. To say that she's not trying would be an insult. It's just that we live in a streaming era where anyone can emerge as a sensation, and staples or would-be stars backed by labels find themselves overshadowed easily. It's both easier and harder than ever to find your niche and carve a space for yourself in the industry. Charli's faced so many false starts and pauses, and the fans that have been with her since day one, since True Romance, and earlier on know that. She has a place, clearly, loving fans, and bangers for days, but it's not hard to imagine that she'd want to be more. That she'd like to headline her own tours instead of being an opening act. And it's tragic that she can't at the moment. If you like this video or this sort of retrospective, feel free to like and subscribe. I can't wait to do more of these. This is my first music one, so look forward to more maybe. And thanks.